We want to turn now to Rabia Chaudry, a lawyer who also brought Syed's case to the producers of Serial. She's also an author of the upcoming book, Adnan's Story. She's with me now from Greenbelt, Maryland. Thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it. What's so interesting, I think, is you've been a leading advocate for his appeal. How significant, in your opinion, was Serial's research in this decision?
Serial's power to tell his story was incredibly significant. It's what made all the difference in the case. It brought the world's attention to it. Their research was good, but it wasn't excellent, to be honest. And Sarah Koenig starts off Serial by saying she's not an investigator, and neither am I. And so it took some really amazing investigators to find other evidence that has helped us win the appeal today.
Well, you had millions of listeners kind of acting as these armchair detectives, as they were called. But when you get into the case itself specifically, how significant of a role does memory play in a case like this? The prosecution's lead witness at the original trial changed his story more than once.
We're talking like 9 times.
Yeah, 9 times.
Right. Look, we've been able to determine exactly why he changed the story. After Serial, the investigation continued with a team of lawyers, Susan Simpson, Colin Miller. We launched a podcast called Undisclosed, 85 million downloads. And the evidence that we presented was actually presented at this hearing, at this appeal. And part of that was to show, and again, to show that there's no way this witness's story could have bared out. And in episode 3 of Undisclosed, we actually show why this witness's story changed over and over. And it changed because he was being coached by police and he was being fed information, and he kept trying to match their story.
We've seen that happen in other cases too, I think now. So the first letter, I want to talk about that Adnan Syed received after being arrested in 1999 was from you. What did you say to him, and what about his case had you convinced that he was innocent?
I honestly don't recall what was in that letter. I'm assuming, the night he was arrested, my mother and I went to his home and we were in shock because I've known him since he was like 13. And I don't remember what was in the letter. But what convinced me of his innocence, number one, is the fact that I know him. He is literally the most non-confrontational person you'll ever meet. He is just like a really gentle soul. And he has no history of violence, not before his arrest and not after his arrest. On top of that, sitting through parts of the trial, understanding what happened and how thin the evidence was, there was no evidence to convict him. It just didn't exist. Nothing physical connected him to the crime. And now we know that the medical evidence right now that we've just understand it now and we didn't then shows that the crime could not even have happened the way the state said it happened.
When you heard the decision today, what was your initial reaction?
Justin Brown, who's Adnan's attorney, called me, and I think I screamed and cried for a few minutes until he calmed me down, and I spent the next 2 hours crying, and they're very happy tears, and I'm very overwhelmed. I just spoke to Adnan yesterday, and I happened to be in Aspen, Colorado, and we were talking, and I said, hopefully the next time we talk, it'll be after we get a decision.
So you almost foresaw this coming. Can you describe your relationship with Syed?
Oh, he's like, I'm a big sister and to him, and he doesn't have any sisters, and because he's my younger brother's best friend, so he's kind of like a little brother to me, and it's just, that's our relationship. I care about him like a brother, and he messes with me like a brother messes with a sister, and we have he's a great guy. You
said you talked to him yesterday. When do you plan to talk to him again?
I think he's on there is some kind of an issue at the prison where they can only have calls every other day. So he might not be able to make any phone calls today. I think he'll probably be making calls tomorrow to his family and to me and to others, maybe his attorney. I know even his lawyer wasn't able to get through today.
Well, and speaking of his lawyer, his lawyer said that, they're really going to have to do a lot of work in this case. Are you optimistic about the case's future, or how are you feeling?
Oh, I'm absolutely. This was our biggest hurdle. I think, even if the case is appealed, the appellate court is the one that sent this decision back down. So I feel like they're already in our corner. If this actually goes to trial, we have so much evidence and we have all the resources on our side. We have the money to defend him properly. We have lawyers that believe in him. We have the whole world watching carefully. And the only thing the state of Maryland has is this horrible witness who is going to come into court and maybe try to tell one more lie. I don't know. But you can only tell so many stories before people stop believing you.
I do want to ask you, though, there's been criticism in this case and other cases where the internet or television have played just a major role in decision making. And a lot of people have said that's really not fair. You don't hear the whole case. You may have millions of listeners behind you, but you may not have all the evidence. What do you have to say to the critics?
You know who has all the evidence? The state has all the evidence. The evidence is in the trial transcripts. All of those are public information. Go and look for the evidence. It doesn't exist. So if the state of Maryland feels terrible that for some reason, people are not seeing the evidence, show them the evidence. The evidence is there. Sarah Koenig saw it. The Innocence Project, who was part of the case, saw it. Every lawyer who's touched it has seen it. So this is not about people online. I mean, the judge did not rule in his favor because people online were clamoring for something. This is because he saw the evidence that existed and didn't. And so if the state of Maryland is or anybody's gonna say, well, there's evidence people aren't seeing, well, then show it to us. I mean, all the trial transcripts are public record. Show it to us. What's there?
I want to ask you too, how does Syed feel Serial has affected his case?
Oh, I mean, not just Adnan, but all of us. I think, there's no way we would be here without Serial. And that's kind of the tragedy of this. What people don't understand is that there are tens of thousands of people like Adnan who are in prison, and they don't deserve to be there. But they're not all going to get what Serial was able to do for him. So he is ever grateful, ever thankful. And he's in touch with Sarah. They write to each other. They talk every so often.
All right. Rabia Chaudry, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate your insight.
Thanks so much.